If you guys want to grab one for your families to look on with, that'll be wonderful. These are also on the website. We'll talk about that in a minute. All right. Does every family have paper that's front and back and a paper that's a schedule that you can see? If not, they are in the front pews here. I got a couple stacks of each. Come and grab one of those. We're going to walk through those tonight. For those of you who are joining us online, or for those who are watching the recording tomorrow or in the days to come, you can find this on the website. If you just go to ministries/confirmation, then to confirmation resources, these are already up there, so you can find them there as PDF files. Well, first of all, welcome everybody. I am glad to be with you all. I'm, again, Pastor Jeremiah. I'm the guy that's kind of in charge of organizing this kind of stuff here at Calvary. And honestly, teaching confirmation is like the best part of my job. I love it. I look forward to it. And it's a ton of energy. So, super great to be with you all tonight as we kind of walk through this. So we should have families in 6th, 7th, 8th grade. You're spread all over tonight. That's wonderful. That's great. When we get to our small groups later, not tonight, but in a couple weeks, generally we'll aim for 6th grade here, 7th grade here, 8th grade here, and we'll move forward with that. But before we jump into that, I want to talk a little bit about what confirmation is and talk about the program overview, what it is we're talking about when we talk about confirmation. So, in the Lutheran tradition, when we talk about what this thing called confirmation, there's actually two different things that we're often talking about. The first one is confirmation class, which is what we're all here for, right? In different churches, in different denominations, in different regions, it can be a widely varying process, but it's generally an educational time, sometimes called catechesis, where people learn a bit about their faith, about Lutheran traditions, about the Bible, all of these things in preparation for the other thing that we call confirmation, which is sometimes called Confirmation Sunday, or affirmation of baptism. This is kind of the time on usually a Sunday morning or an afternoon where we have a worship service where people who have gone through a confirmation program take part and they stand up and they say, yes, I want to continue in these promises of baptism. I want this to continue to be a part of my life. I believe these things that were promised for me in my baptism. And so we call that confirmation too. When we talk about confirmation here, we're mostly going to be talking about that first one, that class, that catechism that takes place over a number of years in order to prepare us for that second, that affirmation of baptism, that confirmation piece. And the reason that it exists is that in the Lutheran Church, along with a lot of other different traditions, we often will baptize people as babies or infants or any age that maybe don't understand what's going on, which in our theology is really a beautiful thing because in baptism, none of us, no matter how old we are or how much education we have, really understands the grace of God. And so the idea of baptizing a child, a baby, an infant, is something that is fully in keeping with how we understand the grace of God. And yet, that means that often people who are baptized as a baby, like I was, really don't know what was happening and don't really have a chance to have any agency in saying, yes, that's something that I want to be a part of. That's something that I claim as well. And so the process of confirmation and the idea of affirmation of baptism, grew out of a need for that kind of ability to say yes to the promises that were already made in the gift of baptism. Now, talking theologically, it's not like baptism isn't effective until you get confirmed. Baptism is once and for all. It's good. God has you. God has claimed you, period. We're good. And we want to give you an opportunity to claim that for yourself too, and to, again, say, I want to be a part of this. I want this to be part of who I am. So that's why confirmation exists. Now at Calvary, we have a 3-year confirmation program that usually is grades 6 through 8, although there's certainly options that we have other people who are older, sometimes people who are younger, but not often that piece, that take part in this class. It's a 3-year cohort system, by which I mean each year everybody that's taking the class, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, all get the same material. So for example, this year is the Old Testament year. Then we've got a catechism year where we learn about Lutheran traditions, about Martin Luther's small catechism. We talk about the Ten Commandments. We talk about the creeds. We talk about the Lord's Prayer and all these things. And then we have a New Testament year where we learn about the New Testament, the part of the Bible where we talk about Jesus and all those pieces. So in the cohort system, this year, everybody gets Old Testament. So if you were in 6th grade this year, you get Old Testament. You're in 7th grade this year, you get Old Testament. 8th grade this year, you get Old Testament. Next year, it's going to be catechism. So everybody will get catechism. And the year after that, everybody will get New Testament. So over the course of your 3 years, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, you will get each one of those years, though it won't necessarily be in the same order as your older brother or younger sister or something like that. But you always get the same thing. So that's kind of how the overarching theme of our program works. Now, what we do on a regular basis as part of that class, that catechism, that confirmation study, is we gather after worship here, usually between 7 and 7:15, depending on what time church gets done, and we have a couple different parts of the evening. We usually open up with a large group lesson where either myself or another leader will share a bit about the theme of the day and talk about the Bible story we're talking about, the book of the Bible we're talking about, the part of the small catechism we're talking about, usually with some vocab words, some Bible verses, maybe a video or something like that. And then the second half of that Wednesday night confirmation class is our small group conversations. All of our confirmation students are broken up into a bunch of different small groups because as of this afternoon, I think we've got like 74, 75 kids registered for confirmation. Pretty hard to have individual conversations with 75 people all at once. So everybody's in a small group, usually of between 5 to 8 or 9, hopefully not too much bigger than that, kids with 2 adult small group leaders who then go more in-depth with the material that the large group leaders already talked about. We have a worksheet that we have each night that has a memory verse, has a bunch of discussion questions, and other material for us to dive into with that. Which is why I depend so heavily on my small group leaders, my Lent mentors, all of those people that make this confirmation possible. I just want to try something. For you parents that are out there, raise your hand if you've ever been a small group leader or a Lent mentor, just to kind of see where we're at. Yeah, so we have a bunch who have already been a part of that. It really is an absolutely critical piece of what makes this confirmation program work. And so I want to put a plug in for this because especially for our 6th grade group this year, I still need small group leaders. In fact, I think I need 5. I need 4 group leaders for a girls group and 1 leader for a boys group. And so if you have any interest in being a part of that, if you want to know more about it and you're not sure, talk to me, call me, email me. I'd love to talk with you. I will be calling you if I don't get some volunteers just to make sure that we get enough people to lead these small groups because it is an absolutely critical piece of how we do our confirmation program. Okay, so let's jump back to this paper and kind of talk through some of the expectations of what it means to be part of this confirmation program. We talked about program overview, cohort system, 3 years of curriculum. Student expectations. What are the expectations for students who are part of this program? We ask that you approach this earnestly, authentically. Come to learn and grow, discuss, and think. This is a place where we really want you to engage with just whatever you are thinking about, and we want you to be asking honest questions. One of the things that my 7th and 8th graders will probably be able to tell you is that I will always encourage you to ask, wonder, question, all of these things. A faith that is alive is a faith that asks questions. And so if you have questions about anything, or you think, oh, that doesn't make a lot of sense, why do we believe that? bring it up. Let's talk about it. That's part of the confirmation process. So learn and grow, discuss and think. Receive baptism. So it's kind of hard to affirm the promises of baptism if you haven't yet been baptized. So by the time you get confirmed in usually 9th grade, if that's what we're going toward, if you have not been baptized yet, we can make that happen at any point up until Confirmation Sunday. I've had some confirmation students who were confirmed in the 9th grade year and they were baptized like a week ahead of confirmation. So it definitely is a thing that can happen. If you have not been baptized yet, not a problem. But if you want to actually be confirmed, it's important we get that done first. Behave appropriately. So a big part of coming together as a group is that it takes us to actually be a community. Some of the stuff I was talking about in worship today. Approach each other with kindness, compassion, love, forgiveness, patience, all of these things. If we're going to do this together, it really does take all of those things for us. Bring materials, Bible and writing utensil. So starting last year, we were able to give one of these Lutheran Study Bibles to every single confirmation student free of charge. So all incoming students will be receiving one of these in a couple of weeks at our first small group lesson. 7th and 8th graders, if you have not yet received one, talk to me and I will make sure that you get one as well. We want to make sure that everyone has access to one of these. And also, we've got other Bibles too. If you prefer the Pew Bibles, you can take a Pew Bible. Take it home with you. It's yours to keep. We like to give away Bibles, as Britt and I talked about today. But bring your Bible and bring a writing utensil to confirmation each Wednesday. Let's see, complete the test. Every year we have a test at the end of the year on the material that we've learned so far. Not a stressful thing. I want to emphasize that for incoming students. This is not something to be stressed about. And for returning students, if you were stressed last year, please don't. Don't stress about this. It's something that we do as a group. It's something that we prepare for together. It's really meant to be kind of a question of what it is that we've learned this year together, so we can think back on the different stories in the Bible, the different lessons that we've talked about, and remember what we've accomplished together. So test comes up in the spring. Attend and participate in both regular class nights and special events. As we'll get to in a little bit when we look at the calendar, there are a number of special event nights throughout the year, and it's important that you participate in those, as well as in our regular class events. Now, I know you can't always be here, you can't always participate, but we really want you to make every effort to be present in these things. This is something that's important as we're preparing for that affirmation of baptism. We want you to be invested in this, so please make every effort to be present. And if you can't be present, let me know so that I can make sure that we can let your small group leaders know as well. Complete a minimum of 6 in-reach and outreach service activities. So part of the Christian life that we have together, the life of community, is supporting each other, both in the ways that we are church together and the larger community. So part of confirmation is providing service, again, both to our church family and to outside of the church family. We've got a few service nights that are part of the confirmation calendar, but also these in-reach and outreach activities are opportunities for you to individually be a part of being service to someone outside of yourself. Now, part of that is in the form of acolyting or helping with Calvary Alive or providing special music, other things in worship. But if you have an idea for something you want to do in the community that would help someone that you know or a group that you know, I'm always open to those too. So if you're inspired by that, think of something you want to do, come and tell me that, hey, I want to help out the library or I want to rake leaves for my neighbor. I will absolutely say, yes, that is an outreach activity. You get credit for that, 100%. That's part of those things. So 6 of those at some point during the year. Participate in worship services. This is an important piece as well. If during confirmation we're saying, yes, this is something that I want to have as part of my life, it's something that's important to me and I want to participate in, it's important that we actually participate in it and know that's something that we want to do. So it is important for you to participate in worship services. That can be the worship service that is right before confirmation, the Wednesday night service. It can be a Sunday morning service. It can be something else at a different church. If you're attending another church and coming here for confirmation, that's perfectly fine too. But we want to make sure you're participating in the life of a church family for sure.
You might want to tack into that too,
yes.
That we do want you with your family too. So with your parents
yes.
or with a responsible adult with you in worship. Please don't just drop your confirmation kids off so that they run throughout the building. We want you together and grow together and connect together in this space. And many of you are involved in confirmation too as guides and as mentors. You'll see those things as we go. It gets to be a whole hub of life around here on Wednesdays. We want you participating in that together. Worship serves really as a kickoff to confirmation in some ways too. So
Absolutely.
check that out. Be part of it. We're excited to take that journey with you.
So as part of that experience of participating in worship, we do ask for you to complete 12 worship notes during the course of the year. And that's this year, these lovely purple pieces of paper. There we go. These purple pieces of paper that you can find at both entrances to the sanctuary. There's some folders on the wall that have these empty ones in them, and then another one just below it that you can, I think it's below, yeah, it's below, where you can turn in the completed ones. So when you pick one of these up and you're coming to worship, you can be filling this out. It asks a bunch of questions about what you're thinking about during the worship services. Also, if you're acolyting, you can fill this out and you can get someone to sign it so that you get credit for acolyting. Of those 12 worship notes, I would ask that 6 of them at least be family worship notes. On here, there's a check mark towards the top that you can check that says this is a family note. And what a family note is when you come to worship with your family, you take one of these home with you, and you sit down for like 5-10 minutes, and you talk through the questions together. You fill this out together as a family. Again, emphasizing that this is not an individual thing, but something that we're participating in as a family. So, total of 12 worship notes, at least 6 of them as family notes. Then, last student expectations on the list here, particularly for our 8th grade students, those that are preparing for confirmation in the fall, prepare and share a faith statement during the summer of 2026 worship. Something that we have seen throughout the summers in the past summers, and I help you in preparing those statements of faith. So again, not something to worry about. I know it's intimidating, but it is an awesome, awesome thing that you're able to participate in, and I will walk through that with you every step of the way and make it something that is a meaningful experience for you and for those who are listening to you as well. So we'll start preparing for that once we get into May of 2026. Also, a new tradition that we're starting this year with the 9th grade class this year, and that 8th graders you'll be taking part in next year, is the creation of confirmation stoles. So a stole is this thing that Pastor Chris and I wear during worship. It goes around our neck like that. It's an ancient tradition meant to symbolize the yoke of Jesus, kind of the thing that you wear around like an ox's neck, that kind of thing. And it's also tradition that people do during confirmation at a number of points in time throughout history. And it's a way to kind of individualize and memorialize, that's the word I'm looking for, your Confirmation Sunday experience. So this fall, Pastor Chris and Brett will be working with the 9th graders to create their own confirmation stoles that they'll wear on Confirmation Sunday. And next year, 8th graders, you also will be doing that in the fall of 2026. And then, of course, be part of Confirmation Sunday, which for you 8th graders, should you make it through to that point, is going to be on October 25th of 2026, which is Reformation Sunday. Now, especially for you 8th graders this year, we're doing it also this year, but man, you 8th graders are a huge class, like 40 of you or something like that. And so we're not going to be doing that during Sunday morning worship on that date. Instead, it's going to be an afternoon special confirmation worship service. This year's 9th grade class is also doing that, 2 o'clock on their Confirmation Sunday. And so for you guys on October 25th, it'll be an afternoon service as well. Okay, so that's student expectations. Parent and guardian expectations, something that Pastor Chris has already started talking a little bit about. This is something that we do together as family. So you also are asked to come with the desire to grow with your children in faith, knowledge, and understanding in your relationship with God and with God's people. Be active as a family in a household in the life of Calvary or another congregation. If you're connected with another congregation, if you're connected with Ardal Lutheran, for example, you'll be connected there. And the daily life of faith. Pray, worship, read scripture, serve, and give. All of these things that are hallmarks of life that we share together. Again, confirmation, affirmation of baptism is saying, yes, I want to be a part of that. And so in preparation to be a part of that, we practice being a part of that together as family. Next point, get your children here. That's a pretty critical piece to have them show up and be present here. There are a number of communication tools that we use if you need to let me know about absences or if you have any questions. We do have a Remind app sign-up piece that's on the back of this. You can email me, you can call me, And honestly, of those three, email is probably the best way to reach me because I check my email all the time, forever, regardless of what time of day it is, wherever I am. And so that's the best way to get an immediate response. Remind app works. I'm usually on there a couple times a week, so it's not necessarily the most immediate way of reaching me. And calls to the office are great if I'm here. But email, I am always checking my email. So those are ways to get in touch with me. Other ways you can help participate is serving in those ways that we talked about already. Lent mentoring, which I'll talk about in a little bit here, small group leading, and substitutes as small group leaders. So again, if being a small group leader is something that you're even feeling a slight inkling toward tonight, come and ask me questions about it. I would love to talk with you about it because we do need those small group leaders to make this happen. And you know what? Let's talk about Lent mentoring since I've already mentioned that. One thing that happens during the time of Lent, which is the season in the spring between Ash Wednesday and Easter, is confirmation changes. Instead of having our usual large group and small group activities, instead we gather together after worship in individual groups of Lent mentors and mentees. We have a bunch of mentors throughout the church congregation that sign up to have conversations with our confirmation students. And so we have like more than 50, more than 60 people who sign up to be these Lent mentors. What that means is after worship during Lent, we have a series of discussion questions, and they get together in this room with their Lent mentor, either as pairs or as triplets, to kind of talk about the questions that are there, to discuss the worship service, to talk about how life is going. It's really meant to be a relationship-building piece to expand the circle of safe and helpful adults that are part of our kids' lives, and to connect them with other people in the congregation besides their parents and besides their family members and besides their pastors and small group leaders who they know. And so when they come to worship, they might say, "Hey, Len, I know you. You're my mentor. How's it going?" and have those times of conversation. So Lent mentoring is something that happens specifically during that season, and so serving as a Lent mentor is another great way to help out with the confirmation process. And then, of course, participating in worship services. As Pastor Chris mentioned, I have here in italics, it's expected that confirmation students in worship are accompanied by a responsible adult. Doesn't necessarily have to be the parent every single time, but it is important that we don't just have kids that are finding their own way around here during worship. It's important that you are here present with your kids as well, or have another responsible adult who is here with them. And then, of course, complete those 6 family worship notes. Expectations for students and parents and guardians together. Be in that mentoring relationship during Lent, those 7 weeks of mentoring. As you come to worship, I'll have those discussion questions available for you. You'll find your mentors. We have a pairing off time that I connect you together, and then throughout that period, you have that same Lent mentor for that season, and often into the years that come in. So like if you have one Lent mentor in 6th grade, I make every effort to maintain that same mentor for you 7th grade and 8th grade as well. Let's see, expectations for us, for the church staff, and for the small group guides. We'll be prepared to make confirmation meaningful, safe, relevant, and fun. I want this to be something that is important and meaningful and doesn't just feel like something you have to do, because it shouldn't be. It's not something that we have to do. It's something that we are able to choose to participate in together. And so that's something that we will make every effort to make happen. Let's see, that also includes that safe environment for you to grow, share, learn, and serve. We do have a small background check that we do for all of our small group guides. 7th and 8th grade guides that have already done it. It's a 3-year cycle for that, so I think those of you are good for now. And then 6th grade guides will get you guys all taken care of once we get up and running. And we'll communicate with you regularly and be as responsive as we possibly can with any questions or concerns. I am always up to talk about confirmation if you have questions or if you have wonderings about how we can make things better as well. So please feel free to get in touch with me. So the Wednesday schedule, 5:30 is the Calvary Alive meal. You're always welcome to participate in that. 6:15 is the start of worship. It's great to participate in that as well because that brings us right into the time of confirmation. Confirmation will start directly following that large group worship. Sometimes that'll be 7 o'clock, sometimes that'll be 7:15, depending on when worship gets done, but it's directly following that worship service. We'll jump into our confirmation time together. And then small groups will wrap up by 8:15, and you can pick your kids up on the way out. All right, confirmation calendar. That's that other piece of paper that we have here, and this is the schedule, the calendar for the program year. Now, it is, of course, subject to change, although I'm really hoping to not have to change it. This is the draft that we have currently. You can see the names of the lessons that we have for the Old Testament stuff, and the days that we do not have confirmation or we have particular special events that are happening. I want to point out a couple of those things. So looking ahead to the 19th of November is Games and Gym Night. So every so often we'll also have a fun night, a night where we get together and instead of having a lesson, we're just going to play games, we're going to watch a movie, we're going to play in the gym, spend time as community. So the first one of those is the 19th of November. And then the other side of that is the service nights. So coming up on the December 17th, we have our first service night. Each small group will have a different point of service that they'll be assigned to help out with. I'll get that information to you ahead of that night so you know. I think at this point we're all mostly doing those in-house, but if there's anything else, I'll let you know about that as well. February 4th, the Unified Basketball Game. This is something that we did for the first time last year. A community event that really brings together people from all across the community is that Unified Basketball Game, where we go and kind of cheer and celebrate and be part of the larger Bemidji community. And so it's a great way for us to be a part of that larger family. We gather over at the gym there. We have got a dedicated section where we have Calvary Confirmation Club and everybody else from Calvary that comes and cheers together for that. So that's happening on the 4th of February. And then you see that whole block of Lent mentoring that occurs from February through the beginning of April. One thing to note is April 2nd is not a Wednesday. Lent 7 happens on Maundy, Thursday. During Holy Week, we don't have anything happening here on Wednesday night. However, we do have something the next day on Thursday, Maundy, Thursday. So the 2nd is the only time on this whole schedule that is not a Wednesday night. It is a Thursday night instead. But that's then, you can see through to the end of the year. End of the year confirmation celebration is the 20th of May. This document, as I said, is also available on the church website. If you lose yours, you need another copy, you can either talk to me or just download it yourself from the confirmation resources there. And if there's any changes to this, I will make sure you know about that, and I will update that document on the website as well. But I really, really don't think at this point we're going to have too many changes, other than weather-related events, which I would get in contact with you through Remind, through email, through every possible way that I can. We also do follow the school's calendar, so if the school cancels classes because of weather, then we are also canceled for that night as well. But we will also, again, make every effort to communicate with you about those things. All right, flipping over to the back side of this sheet. Other things that are part of the confirmation program that don't necessarily fall on the regular Wednesday night schedule. Faith formation events that we highly encourage you to be a part of because they really are meaningful to everyone who participates in them, and they really are great pieces of the overall faith experience. First one are mission service adventure trips. Middle school goes this coming summer to Duluth as part of their Adventure Serve trip that lasts about a week. Brett takes a bunch of folks down. They do a bunch of fun things. They do a bunch of service things. They do life together as community for that week and building relationships together that is a really meaningful, powerful thing. And so dates are TBD on that one so far, but I would encourage you to participate if you have the option to do so. Bible camp. Also a great way to grow in faith and life and community together. We participate in Camp Emmaus here at Calvary, and so if you have information, or if you would like information or have questions about Camp Emmaus, you can talk to me, you can talk to Brett, you can talk to Pastor Chris. We would love to inform you about those pieces as well. And we will have a dedicated camp Wednesday night coming up in April, on the 8th of April as well. Vacation Bible School Youth Guide, a way that you can also participate in our smaller kids and the way that they are developing their faith. Each summer, we have a VBS week where we have like 100 kids that come in and we do skits and we do games and we learn about Jesus, and we're always looking for people to help out. Confirmation students, you are perfect people to help out with that event if you would like to participate. Anyone here done that already? Has anyone helped out with the VBS week? Yeah, we got a few people here who have. Was it fun? Oh yeah, absolutely. So definitely a great way to help out with that. Let's see, and then baptismal instruction and first communion instruction will be provided if needed. Again, I talked about it. Baptism is something that happens before confirmation. Communion as well. If you haven't had First Communion instruction yet either, that will be coming up in January. We have the date on the calendar. I can't remember off the top of my head. But if that's something you haven't had yet, let me know. I saw a couple in the registration already, and I'll get in contact with you, and we can make that happen for you as well. Okay, last section of this, the to-do list for you guys to be thinking about. Registration has to happen every year so that we have the most up-to-date information on you and your families and where to get in touch with you and that kind of thing. If you have not yet registered for confirmation, please do so if you're going to participate. This giant QR code on the back of this goes directly to the registration. You can also find it on the website. You can email me and I'll send it to you. I will get you registered. It would be a wonderful thing to have completed. Program cost. Cost for the confirmation program, $25 a student, $50 per family, whatever is cheaper. And, excuse me, this is shared also with Sunday school. So if you have a kid in confirmation and you have like 2 kids in Sunday school, your cost for the whole thing is $50 because it's whatever is cheaper, $50 is the maximum that we're asking you to pay for all of the youth programming at Calvary. And if that is a hindrance, if $50 is too much, that's okay. We also have scholarships available. We do not want any kind of financial piece to be a burden that would keep someone from participating because this is life together. So if you need a scholarship, talk to me. Happy to make that happen as well. You can either pay by check in the office, or you can pay me here tonight, or you can do Rebel Give at some point in time, whatever works for you. We want to make that easy for you to participate in. Sign up for the Remind app. As again, I mentioned, this is one of the ways that I send out information about confirmation, about closures, about all those things. Here are the codes for this year. For you guys that are already in the Remind app from previous years, you're still in. So if you joined last year for your 6th grade class, you're automatically in for the 7th grade class. If you joined for 6th grade and you're in 8th grade, you're automatically in. But if you need to change or update your information, register again for that. The codes are there for you as well. Okay. Before we get into our last piece for tonight, any questions about anything I've talked about or anything that I've forgotten or that you want more information about? Yes. Yes, great question. So she said last year there was a youth group gathering on a Wednesday or a weekend that we got together with other churches and had a really fun, good time. Stay tuned about that. I think, Pastor Chris, we might have something in the wings. Right now, there is not one currently scheduled, but that if it does come to fruition, we will absolutely be communicating with you about that. Great question. It's definitely a really fun time for that. Anything else? Okay. If anything does come up, always feel free to get in touch with me. Happy to talk about this anytime you would like.
PJ,
yes, Chris.
I'm curious because you are going to be looking for a few more guides, right?
Yes.
So that's the regular guides, a small group, pretty awesome way to share. You're also going to be looking for mentors as we get closer. But who in this room serves or has served as a guide for confirmation?
I asked the same question.
Oh, you already did that?
I did that.
Oh, well,
but yes.
I wasn't in
We could do it again. That's all
I
good.
want to see it. Who's been a guide in this room? Awesome. Who's been a Lent mentor in this room? Pretty cool. So new parents that are coming into the program now, if you're interested in that, do talk to PJ and get connected in that way.
And I promise you, I make it as non-intimidating as possible to be a small group guide. You do not have to know everything about the Bible. You don't have to know everything about God. I don't know everything about the Bible. I don't know everything about God. It's about participating in this together. And so I provide the materials and everything that you would need. If you have questions about anything as a guide, talk to me. I want to make this accessible for you as well because it's really an important way of participating. Okay, last piece before we wrap up tonight. How am I doing on time? Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Okay. Is this time of conversation that I'm inviting you to be a part of with your families, those who are gathered together. There's some questions that I want you to talk through with your confirmation students, with your parents. If you're here by yourself, maybe pull together with some other folks that are here. But the questions that are listed here. What's something that you're looking forward to in confirmation? What's something that will be hard? And then pray together. Pray with each other and for each other. If you need a model for prayer, there's one that's written down there that you can use. But that's the last piece that I want to really kind of do together is take some time to be in that conversation and prayer as family groups, as groups together. And then once you finish, you're free to go on your way. Come and talk to me if you have questions. Come and talk to me if you want to do the payment piece now all of those things. But otherwise, have some conversation, and thanks for being part of confirmation. Appreciate you guys. Yeah. Oh, Bruce, gosh. Hold on. I'm not done. I forgot to introduce Bruce. Bruce, can you come on up here? Bruce is awesome. We need to give Bruce a round of a hand. Bruce, will you tell us a little bit about who you are and what's your involvement with confirmation?
Yeah, the 7th and 8th graders certainly know me because I'm the one that runs around with the clipboard every Wednesday because I've got a challenge to make sure things run smoothly. And I think that's the point I want to make this year to all of the confirmands. Church service on Wednesday, just like it is on Sundays, runs on a schedule and things run sequentially and orderly. Well, we as the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders are charged with that responsibility every Wednesday night. Ushering, assisting with communion, has to happen in a sequence so that we've got everything else on schedule that happens after the church service itself is done. So the ushering, passing of the collection plates has to happen in a certain sequence. Assisting with communion has to happen in a specific sequence. And it's us being the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders that need to do this. So every year, as one of, in fact, a couple of times, you get a service credit for assisting with the service. And we started this probably about 6 or 7 years ago, 8 years ago, when it made sense. The focus of Wednesday nights, the worship service that the kids have to be listening to, participating in, taking notes for, and submitting, it's about our kids. So I, at that time, approached the pastor and said, hey, let's have them have some responsibility. And so there becomes your responsibility. 6th graders, 7th graders, 8th graders, 7th and 8th, you've gone through the routine. I had to go pick some kids up, yank them out just like I always do. They mostly know the routine. I got Jericho here. He's first timer, so we had to spend a little extra time. But all the parents of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, you see me up here all the time. But it's an important role. So you will be expected to participate. I will get together, I think, this year with the small group guides. I'll come to your group rooms. We'll actually pick 3 kids the week before. That's going to help, again, keep some law and order in the whole process here. But it's a fun thing. You do get service credit for it. So don't be surprised if I tap you on the shoulder and say, you're in this week. Hopefully we always need a minimum of 3, ideally 4, but we'll orchestrate that as we go along.
Awesome. Thanks, Bruce. Much appreciated.
Yep.
And that actually reminds me about something that I forgot to talk about, kind of important. Acolyte schedules. Okay, so every month I send out a schedule for who's in charge of acolyting for each Sunday, Wednesday, helping out with Calvary Alive. This goes by month for each class. So if, for example, this month is, I forget what it is. Who is it this month? Who's doing it this month? 8th grade, 7th grade? 7th grade. Okay, so this month is a 7th grade Acolyte Calvary Alive month, which meant beginning of the month, I sent out a calendar to all the 7th grade families saying, here's where you guys are assigned for helping out with acolyting and Calvary Alive serving this month. If you need to change, you're not going to be there, please try to trade. If you really can't find someone to trade, talk to me. I'll make sure that we get someone filled in. But then the next month would be 8th grade or the 6th graders. And so I get you signed up for those particular things. If you are acolyting for a service, either on a Sunday morning or a Wednesday night, please be over by the sacristy right outside this door about 15 minutes before the service starts. If you're helping serve the Calvary Alive meal, please be there by 5:15 to get prepared for that. We will be doing acolyte training, where I'll go over some more of these things coming up. I think it's in 2 weeks that we'll be doing that. But I do want to mention that when you get an email from me in a month or so that says, here is 6th graders, here's your acolyte schedule, that's what it's about. So, okay, go ahead and have some conversation.